What is up, ladies and gentlemen? One half of the Tease The League boys here coming to you to talk about this Monday night football matchup. We've got the Raiders heading into Detroit to play the Lions. This line has moved back down to just 7 point even line, which is a little bit interesting because most of the bets and money have been coming in on the Lions. So we've got a little bit of reverse line movement. And all that means is the line is moving the opposite way you would expect when you see where the money's coming in. Usually pretty important. Makes me think we are going to see a 7 point game, and we're not going to see as easy of a cover as we did last night when the Chargers were able to just roll the Bears. But talking about this matchup here, a couple interesting things. We've got the Lions who are showing up really well on offense and defense across the board, and the Raiders who are not. Raiders, their stats have been pretty bad. They've eked out a couple close victories, but overall have not looked good. Part of that has been missing Jimmy G, but even with that, they have not seen Josh Jacobs run the ball well. They have not been able to get the ball to Devontae Adams. It's been it's been rough. I mean, they'll take the 3 wins with as bad as they played, and then we've got the Lions who have looked fantastic, except for that drubbing they took at the hands of the Ravens last week. The Ravens showed them that maybe they're not quite ready to ball out at this top level NFL. I mean, we've seen a lot of good play from them, and we saw them beat the Chiefs early in the year. Have a great game with the Seahawks, who are now rolling, but lost that game in OT. And then they tried to go into Baltimore, which is very tough for an NFC team to do. Lamar Jackson eats up these games against NFC teams because it's the first time they're seeing them. Couple interesting things to watch for tonight. So this total is set at 46.5, which at first glance feels a little high because the Raiders have been low scoring. If you average out like the points per game that the Lions score and give up and the Raiders score and give up, this looks more like a 24-17 game. But then when you start to dive into it a little deeper, you've got the Lions, their games at home this year are averaging 53, basically 53 points a game. So you've got a little bit of an under if you include these teams home and away, and you look a little more of an over, which is why the line has moved up a point as well if you're just looking at Lions home games. Another interesting thing I kind of want to keep an eye on tonight is 4 of the past 5 games, the Raiders have allowed at least 2 rushing TDs. You've had Foreman with 2 rushing TDs. He also had a receiving one in that Bears game. You even had Justin Herbert with 2 rushing touchdowns against his Bears team. When the Bills rolled them, you saw Latavius Murray and Damian Harris score on the ground. So with no David Montgomery tonight, that should mean we see Gibbs get into the end zone. Maybe even see Gibbs get in there twice, or maybe see Jared Goff get a rushing touchdown. The Raiders, they've got to shore that up. If you're giving up 2+ rush TDs every game, like you don't have a chance. And also, this Raiders defense needs somebody to step up that's not named Max Crosby. The Condor's been balling. He's been awesome. We haven't seen a ton else from this Raiders defense. And speaking of awesome pass rushers, we've got Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. So I very well could also see Hutchinson and Max Crosby both getting a sack in this game. But overall, it definitely feels like the Lions win. I would have a hard time talking myself into the Raiders coming into Detroit and getting a win, especially after the Lions got beat pretty bad last week. But it feels like with where the money's gone, and after we had a not so close matchup yesterday, that this will end right on that 7 number. Now that would lead me to believe more so the Raiders get like a little backdoor cover where they score late to take it from 14 to 7. But it feels very much like it's going to be 7, and with the over potentially hitting, probably looks like we're looking maybe like 27-20 Lions. But let me know what you think in the comments. Who's going to win this? What side are you going to be on? Do we see Gibbs score? And will we see the two tight ends, Laporta and Meyer, having good games with Jimmy G being back for the Raiders? And thank y'all for always tuning in.